Kick and chase by Mullins. Kick and chase again by Mullins. It'll be a miracle. Oh, it is a miracle. Fafita tries to crash his way over. He does. Fafita got the ball over the line. Hunter's kick is over the sideline for a 40-20.
Yeah, g'day champions and welcome to 40-20 Sports. Going to have a little look at the team list Tuesday's massive news here on our round one teams. They are out. They are here for us to look at. Massive shake-ups in our teams. There's not as many cheapies as we thought there would be. But fingers crossed we can get enough over the line where we can work our teams out so we're pretty happy with them. I've had to sort of downgrade one of my 2 RFs. Bit disappointed in it, but you know what? It's not a total loss. Other than that, my team is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Before we get going, we do have a league code, 4020. The league code is 726638. You've got until round 8 to jump in on that. We're going to give a merch pack giveaway. We've got stickers, hats, shirts, stubby coolers, all that sort of thing to give away there. Another thing is I sort of told everyone, got onto YouTube really quickly and just said, please follow us on our socials because although I can give you all this stuff and all this guidance and that and tell you what I'm planning on do on a Wednesday, it does change by Thursday Arvo sort of thing, who exactly I'm picking and not picking. So please follow us on our socials. Thursday afternoons, I'll be giving updates on exactly who I'm trading in, who I'm trading out, and what my team is looking like, captaincy options, and that sort of stuff. So please follow us at 4020 Sports there on Instagram, where we can give you a bit of a hand there as well. All right, we will jump straight into it. The first game will be the Thursday night game, the Knights versus the Raiders. The Knights are looking pretty stacked there. Their team is looking as Kalen Ponga, Anari Tuala, Gagai, Best, Marzu, Gamble, and Hastings, the back seven there. Pretty much as we thought that would be there. Dane Gagai and Bradman Best in the centres. Anari Tuala gets that right-hand wing spot, which we all sort of thought he would get anyway. The forwards is Safidi, Crossland, Thompson, Frizzell, Lucas, and Elliott. Again, pretty much how we thought that was going to go. Dylan Lucas gets that starting edge role over Kai Pearce-Paul, although Kai Pearce-Paul is on the bench. So those looking at going Dylan Lucas, especially down in your CTW, just watch out for that one because I think Kai Pearce-Paul will probably eat into his minutes. I don't see Frizzy coming off for a spell. He's an out-and-out 80-minute back rower, so just have a bit of a look there. The interchange of Cogger, Safidi, Hetherington, and that man Kai Pearce-Paul, it's pretty juicy for the front rowers there of Newcastle. Cogger's obviously a utility player. He'll either come in the halves or a hooking role. And Kai Pearce-Paul is an out-and-out back rower. So Jack Hetherington's probably one to watch there. He's probably the big winner out of that. Last year, he was getting games of 17 minutes to 25 minutes. Couple of games where he was getting that 40 minutes. He actually was going at a point per minute of about 1.1. So he was getting 41 average sort of thing there when he was getting the 40 minutes. So with that skinny bench of front row forwards, that's one to watch, I think. Jack Hetherington, he's 260k. Jules, just watch him. He could be an option. The Raiders are looking like Rapana at fullback, Kotrick, Timoko, Hopewadi, Xavier Savage on the wing. Ethan Strange gets the 6. That's huge news for owners. And Jamal Fogarty in the 7. Rapana getting that fullback spot over Chevy Stewart is absolutely shattering for us. Like I said at the start of the video, you know, there isn't as many cheapies as what we were hoping. There's guys like Chevy Stewart have missed out. We were sort of hoping Ethan Strange would get in a centre role there and maybe KO Weeks, but I did warn some people on KO Weeks that I wasn't confident on him, and it's shown there. Ethan Strange obviously picked there for his defence. His defence in the trials has been really, really rock solid. So he gets the jump there at 6. So he should be a pick at number 6 for you or in your CTWs, 100%. Just with how limited we are on cheapies for the start of the season as it looks. The forwards, Josh Papali'i, Danny Levi gets the starting hooking role there. I'm sort of leaning towards going him. I was looking at one of the Parramatta hookers to run in my squad, but now that those two are both named, Danny Levi becomes a prospect. He's probably only a 40-minute hooker, but at a cheaper rate, nearly 100,000k discount from hands. We're going to go Danny Levi, I think. We'll take that cash and we'll use that elsewhere because I'm not confident in any of those guys. We've got Joey Tarpany, Hudson Young, Zach Hosking makes his way into the back row. Elliot Whitehead is out for 3 to 4 weeks there for the Raiders, so one to watch. Morgan Smithies gets the 13. That's awesome news for Supercoach owners. Hopefully he can jag about 60 minutes. If he does, he's going to be a base stat beast. Seen a couple of his stats in the Super League. Astronomical work rate. Heaps of tackles, heaps of runs. Bit of an up and down footy player. Not much attacking stats will come off him, but from the sounds of it, he'll do enough work that he'll get us enough points and get us some good cash rises regardless of that. Their bench, Tommy Starling, he'll chew into some of Danny Levi's minutes, so he's one to watch there. Emre Gula, Adam Mariota, and Pasami Saulo. That is a massive bench. They're obviously going to rely on their two RS to play the 80. Just a bit concerned about the Morgan Smithies there with those three big boys on the bench. They're obviously going to take some time up with him. It'll just be interesting to see what happens there. KO Weeks is in the 18 there, so he misses out. If anyone's got him in your 5'8 spot, take him out. You can chuck Strange in there or do some other stuff there that you wish. But he's one that I would be leaving out of my side. Warriors and Sharks is the first of the Friday night game. That's at 6 p.m. The backline for that is Tane Tuapiki. Now, he comes in for Chance Nickel-Klokstad. Chance Nickel-Klokstad is out for 3 to 4 weeks. Looking at what is going on with the backline players, the CTWs and the cheapies that we've missed out on, I'm nearly going to be tempted to pick him and hope that he plays 4 games and gets 2 price rises. They've got a good start to the year. Their first game over in New Zealand there, so that'll be good for them. He's a gun. He's looking really good in the trials. He trialled really well. I just hope he gets the 4 games. He can get up around that 320 to 330k even. If he makes me 40, 50k, I'd be stoked with that. But yeah, he's a bit risky because obviously he isn't going to be in the side if Chance is coming back, but he's coming back from a hamstring injury, so those soft tissue injuries, we all know they can take a lot longer than what expected to come back, so fingers crossed he can get 4 games in. Witeni Zelezniaki and Marcelo Montoya are in the wings. Rocco Berry and Tuivasa-Sheck. I'll be running Tuivasa-Sheck in my CTWs. He looked phenomenal in the centre. Position there, hasn't lost an ounce of pace. His tackle busters are still there. His work rate is still there. He's a lock-in for me. Metcalf gets the jump at 6. He'll be one to see if he has a bigger year than last year. He's a really good football player, although his Supercoach points didn't really amount in some games. He can take a backward step from Sean Johnson. Young guy, but really good running game. Interesting to see what happens there with him. See if he can have a bit of a breakout year in Supercoach-wise anyway. The forwards there are Adam Fanua-Blake, Mitch Barnett, Wade Egan, Ford, Capewell, and Tohu Harris. Pretty much what we expected there. The bench is concerning for Wade Egan owners. Freddie Lussick is named in the 14. If you were looking at going Wade Egan, I'd be probably avoiding that. Wade Egan scored a stack of tries last year and played big minutes. Freddie Lussick, they look like they're going to give Wade Egan a bit of a breather there. Now that a lot of teams are running this 14th man, very hard to find an 80-minute hooker. I don't even know if there is one besides Brayley, who plays for the Sharkies. So I'm going to go away from Wade Egan, and I'll advise you to do the same. Tom Ale, Bunty Afoa, and Dylan Walker make up the interchange there. We have got from the Sharkies, basically that back 7 is exactly how you would expect it. Kennedy, Katoa, Ramian, Talakai, Mulatalo, Trindle, and Hines. Hines is all cleared from an injury. I think he pulled up an injury in the second week of his of training there at the Sharkies, so he's right to go. He's got the clearance. Owners should be happy to hear about that sort of news, so that's good news for owners. Hines should be cleared to play. The forwards, Kafusi, Blake Brayley, Royce Hunt, Britton Nakora, Teague Wilton, and Cameron McInnes. Dale Finucane starts on the bench. Last year they had that role reversed. Finucane starting and Cameron McInnes coming off the bench. Although Finucane hasn't really trialled there, so maybe they're just giving Cam McInnes those minutes because he's got those worn-in legs sort of thing. So that'll be interesting to see. From the Sharkies, the only thing I can really see there is what we were talking about before, Blake Brayley. He is an 80-minute hooker. If that's what you're into and that's what you're looking at, he seems to be one of the rare hookers that are going to play 80. So maybe an option, maybe not. Oregon Kafusi is also quite cheap there. So he's another one to watch. But yeah, we'll run with that. The big one there is Kyle Iro in the 18 jersey, which is promising because I did have Hiroti ahead of him in the pecking order there, but maybe that's not to be if Kyle Iro is in the 18 jersey. he'll be one to watch if one of those back five go down. So that's good news for him, I think. I think Kyle Hero potentially having the jump ahead of Hiroti will be good for people down the track anyway. A bit later on, we might be able to pick him up. Team lists for the Storm versus the Panthers. They're the other Friday night game. We've got Pappenhausen gets the start at fullback. Will Warbrick, Xavier Coates, Rimmer Smith, Nick Meaney, Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes. Sort of how we expected that. Cam Munster at the 6 is under a bit of an injury cloud there. He has slipped over in the shower. He's done his bloody groin, so I don't know how that has been managed. One to watch there will be Jonah Pezzett on the bench, so he'll be one to watch. We're looking at him. The big one there is Joey Chan. Joey Chan gets the nod in the second row forward as well. Their forwards are looking like Kamikamitha, Grant. Josh King has been moved up into the front row with Trent Liero at the 13. Joey Chan, Alessia Katoa. So Joe Chan is probably one to keep an eye on. Big Nelson's back. He's going to be playing reserve grade in the Queensland Cup by the looks of it this weekend. So they're obviously trying to get a few minutes into his legs. Be interesting to see what happens with Joe Chan. I think he still picks up a bench role, even if he doesn't get that starting second row spot. So, I mean, with that strap for cheapies, I'm considering Joe Chan and then just praying that he gets a bench role. 230-something K in our 2 RFs. There's just next to nothing going on around that price range for owners. So he'll be a good watch. I'm leaning towards going him just because he did pick up that bench role coming off the bench in the trial game that they played in Fiji there. So keep an eye on him. Penny Panthers, Dylan Edwards at the back, Taruva and Toto on the wing, Targo and May in the centres. Jerome Luai is back. He's cleared from his injury, and Nathan Cleary. Big one for owners is Taylor May on that left-hand side. He scored really well in the World Club Challenge, although the half they had in there played a predominantly running game. Jerome Luai is really good at feeding his left edge, really good at getting the ball out there. And I actually don't mind Luke Garner being out there. He'll be out there on the left-hand edge as well. So, obviously, we've got blokes coming back from injury there, but Garner's not too bad. He sort of can sift the ball on well. That Scotty Sorensen has a bit of a run-first mentality, so could be an uptick for Taylor May in the first couple of weeks. I'm pretty excited with that. His work ethic was really good in the World Club Challenge, so he's one to watch as well. Front row, Moses Leota, Luke Summerton, James Fisher-Harris, Luke Gardner, Liam Martin and Isaiah Yeo. Please do not fall into the trap with Summerton. I'm sure everyone's aware that Mitch Kenny just has a one-game ban because of that post that he put on. So do not pick him. Avoid him at all costs. Luke Summerton, he could be the bloody Sonny Luke of last year, so please avoid him. The bench is made up of Tyrone Peachy, Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry and Matt Eisenhuth. Liam Henry, a lot of people are keen on him. He didn't get a lot of minutes in the World Club Challenge, although his output was really, really good. He was busy. Just with him, like I said, there is the second row forward to come back, Scotty Sorensen. So I don't know how that's all going to work out with Luke Garner, may push to the bench and then push him out. So just a tricky one to watch, but keep an eye on that. Yeah, Sonny Luke on the bench for them, so avoid him at all costs as well. He's not going to get the jump for Mitch Kenny anyway. We've got the Eels versus the Doggies for our first game on Saturday. Clint Gutherson is at the fullback. Bailey Simonson goes to the wing there. Micah Sivo is out for the first 3 weeks with a suspension there. Will Penasini, Morgan Harper, Sean Russell. The halves are Brown and Moses. That is pretty much how we expected that to end up. Simonson jumping on the wing. I think he'll probably push back into the centres and Morgan Harper will shift out once Sivo comes back. So yeah, I'm big on the halves there at Parramatta, but other than that, you know, Gutho, if you wanted to go Gutho, I think they've got a really good opening run. He's as safe as anyone. He's nearly match proof the last year or two. He started to show that he can still play well and score well up against the bigger guys in the opposition, the top 4 blokes. They always have a good run against Penny Panthers, and they've got them round 2. So Gutho's a decent buy. Forwards, Campbell Gillard, Joey Lussick wins the hooking role there. The only thing is Brendan Hands is named in the 14. Brad Arthur, honey-dicked again by one of these coaches. I have no idea what their minutes end up like. They could be a 40-40 split. Joey Lussick could be a 60-20 split. I don't know. Nobody knows. Oh, I'm shattered because I was so keen on Joey Lussick. There was a couple of times last year where they did entrust him with the 80-minute games there. It doesn't seem like that's going to be happening this year, so I'm putting a line through both of them just because there is no clarity on how many minutes they will play. We've got Junior Polo, Sean Lane, Bryce Cartwright, Jermaine Hopgood making out the rest of the forwards there. Sean Lane is now a very interesting one. He didn't get the jump in the trials over Kelma Tuolagi, who was named there in the 17. The bench of Ryan Madison, Joe Offahangawe, and Kelma Tuolagi makes me think that Sean Lane could miss some minutes there. Not that that's a huge deterrent, because the 80-minute back rower is a bit tricky to find this year, especially with value. I think Sean Lane is still very good value, but probably don't expect him to be that 80-minute back rower like we have seen 2 years ago, where he got, he averaged 70-something points a game. So one to watch. Kelma Tuolagi, he brained it in the trials. He was really, really good. He was probably one of their best through both games. Nervous times for Sean Lane owners there. The Dogs, huge news throughout the Dogs. We've got Taff at the back. Blake Wilson, Carraz, Crichton, Addo-Carr make up the back five. Bronson Sherry has missed out. Jacob Carraz, without trialling, has come back into the centre spot. I was worried about this because Blake Wilson looked really, really good in both trials. Bronson Sherry looked really good in both trials as well, but they seem to have gone with a bit more experience in the last couple of years. Bronson Sherry, it's probably not a bad thing for us Supercoach players, because people were really keen on Jacob Carraz, as am I. I don't have the money to fit him in, but I'm still really keen on him. But Bronson Sherry later on in the year, hopefully he can work his way into that side, albeit if there's an injury or whatnot. But I think he'll be the next man up for that back five. So he'll be one to look at that we can downgrade a player later on in the year too. So fingers crossed we see a bit of that action going on later in the year. Burton and Drew Hutchison make out the halves. Hutchison has got the nod over Toby Sexton. I was really keen on Drew Hutchison from the first trial. Less keen after the second trial. He looked really, really clunky. Sort of didn't get the ball shifting out as well as he was in the round one. And that's the sort of difference between these NRL players and reserve grade players. There's such a difference there. The Drew Hutchison looked like a world beater in round one against the depleted Melbourne Storm team. Looked a little bit out of his depth in the second trial there. So I think he's a good buy at 340-ish K, whatever he is there. But yeah, he's a big ask. I think you might be in for some low games. I'd be a bit hesitant on picking him in my top 17. But with the cheapie stocks so low in that CTW spot now, I can fully understand if you want to go Drew Hutchison. I probably wouldn't be playing him in my 17 unless he comes up against weaker oppositions and starts to show a bit of form. The forwards there for the Doggies is Max King, Reid Marnie, Pawasa, Fa'amasili, Viliami Kikau, Jacob Preston, and Jamin Salmon. Big one there is Jamin Salmon gets the nod over Josh Curran for that lock spot. He should be a dead set lock in for your CTW spot. 317k. Like I said, we're super light on these blokes that are decent buys in that cheapie spot. So Jamin Salmon straight into my 17, straight into my CTWs, as he should be with yours. Fa'amasili gets the nod at front row forward. Now, I want to have a bit of a chat about these front rowers from the Doggies here. They've signed Zane Tedavano. I know he's not a world beater. He's been over in the UK. I don't know how much he impacts these guys, but they've signed Zane Tedavano and Daniel Saluka Fafita from the Rabbits. These are guys that have played NRL before. I'm a little bit concerned for the likes of Sam Hughes and Fa'amasili. I'm not concerned for the first couple of rounds. Fingers crossed they can get in there. They can make some cash for us and we can shoot them out if something does happen with Tedavano and Daniel Saluka Fafita. Fingers crossed we can get some price rises out of them before they come into the fold. The bench of Kurt Mann, Samuel Hughes, Josh Curran, Curtis Moran. Everyone's super high on Sam Hughes. Please do not have him as your second front row forward. I am having him on the bench. I don't even think I'll be playing him in my 17. Everyone is running off this guy hearsay. Oh, he's super fit. Da-da-da-da-da. He looks super busy, but I think he's going to make us a stack of cash if he can stay in that spot for about 8 to 9 weeks at least. But I'm not running him as a second option at my front row forward, Joshy Curran, I still think he's a good buy. Coming off the bench. He played really well in the second trial there, even though he was sick. He had the flu or something like that, and maybe a bit of a virus. But he is still a very good option. Just don't expect him to be that guy that we thought was going to average 60 to 70 sort of thing. He might be an average of 55, still make us a good bit of cash, and one to definitely jump on. Like I said, the avoids there in the 19 and 20 jersey, Bronson Jerry and Toby Sexton, avoid them. The biggest loser, I think, is Connor Tracy. Whether that's because he hasn't trialled or he's under an injury cloud, he's extremely unlucky to not be in that squad. I think he would have gone from the Sharks to the Doggies thinking, yep, you beauty, I have all but lined up a starting spot here, and it hasn't eventuated, the poor bugger. He's a really good football player. Fingers crossed throughout the year he can get a bit of a jump in on that team. Next up, we've got the late Saturday game. We've got the Titans up against the Dragons. For the Titans, Keanu Kinney, Khan Pereira, Brian Kelly, AJ Brimson, Philip Sami are the back five, Kieran Foran and Tanner Boyd in the halves. Don't get too excited by Keanu Kinney. He is a bottom dollar player or thereabouts. If you wanted to go a bloke in your fullback position that is a cheapie, he's probably only going to get one price rise, if that, and then you're going to be stuck there with a bloke that's about 200 something K. So I have had people message me saying, what do I think of him? I think he's a gun. I think he's a future star, but a massive avoid. Please do not go there with him. AJ Brimson will be a bit of a one to have a look at in our CTW position. He'll jump into that centre role. He's come out and said he doesn't want to be stuck out on that edge. He wants to have a roaming spot, so it'd be interesting to see how they use him exactly. The forwards for the Titans is Fodawaker. Chris Randall gets the nod over Sam Verrills there in the hooking position. Tino Fasumalawe. Cleese Haas is the guy that comes in the second row. Again, another one for feeder due back round 5. I saw a post today that said he's tracking well for a return. So he could be back round 5. Cleese Haas, you might only get 1 or 2 price rises. Even if you can't get rid of him, he's probably going to go onto the bench and get very limited minutes, and then you're going to be stuck with him and he could lose your cash then. So one to avoid. Bo Fermor and Keenan Palacia. Keenan Palacia gets the lock spot. I was so keen on Keenan. I thought he was going to be a slam dunk from my front row forward, and then the game he dished up in the trials there was bloody horrendous. He was shocking. I think he made 12 tackles, missed 5 or something like that. So I'm avoiding him, although I can see him having a lot of value throughout the year. Bo Fermor, super keen. He'll be in my side. Got an awesome work rate. He has attacking upside. Discounted rate for not playing last year, being injured. So he looked really good in the trials as well, which is what you want to see from a guy coming back from injury. So I'm happy to go him. The bench looks at Verrills, Liu, Aaron Clark, and Jamin Jolliffe. I like Bo Fermor out of that. Anyone on that interchange doesn't really excite me there. For the Titans, the Dragons, they've got Tyrell Sloan. Lomax stays on the wing. Jack Bird, Moses Suli in the centres. Michaeli Ravalawa, Kyle Flanagan, and Ben Hunt. I'm picking Kyle Flanagan. I've chopped and changed and ummed and ahed about what to do with Kyle Flanagan, but I am going to give Kyle Flanagan a run. 310K. Looking at the guys in the CTWs, there's no cheapies there that we can find that have any decent value. So I'm putting Ethan Strange down into my CTWs. Kyle Flanagan at 300-something K. I think he's a better bet than some of the CTWs that are running around there, like Tuapiki from the Warriors there. He's not guaranteed games. Kyle Flanagan is going to play the whole season at 6. So you could leave him there potentially, just praying that he goes on a bit of a tear, especially with that edge he's going to be working with. He's got Moses Suli and Michaeli Ravalawa and Jaden Sue. Also got Tyrell Sloan sweeping out the back. They've got a pretty good draw to start the year, so maybe Kyle Flanagan can pick up some attacking stats. He looked reasonably busy as well in the trials. Had good work ethic. Wasn't shirking his responsibilities in defence. So if I can get Flanagan to average 45 to 50 at any point, and he goes up near 400 to 500K, I know that's probably a big ask for him, but he might go on a bit of a tear, might get a couple of good lucky runs in, and then I'll flick him for someone else. I just can't see any value in my CTW, so I really want Ethan Strange down there to start the year. The forwards are looking Molo, Jacob Little, Blake Laurie, Tom Eisenhuth, Jaden Sue, and Jack DeBellin. Now, Tom Eisenhuth, people might be a little bit keen on him. He is reasonably priced and 2RF CTW, although we do have Luciana Leilua to come back into the fold, and there is Raymond Fatala-Mariner lurking on that interchange bench. I think Jaden Sue will be their 80-minute back rower, so I'm probably going to put a line through him, although he probably will. He's probably got the opportunity to make you a bit of cash, and if you are skinny and you're looking for guys there, I understand it, but there's probably better options there. On the bench, Connor Mulheisen. Now, he's going to take minutes off Jacob Little. There were some people there that were really keen on Jacob Little. If he played 80 minutes, I would have also been pretty keen on him, but it looks like he's going to share the hooking role. We've got Michael Molo, Viliami Fafita, and Raymond Fatala-Mariner. Huge win for Viliami Fafita. He's going to debut. I am nervous about Luciano Leilua. I think he'll come back and he'll probably boot Fafita out of that top 17, although I'm probably going to still run with him just with how my front row forward is looking. Both my front row forwards are dual front row forward 2RF, so I need that guy down in my second row to be a dual as well, just to work in every now and then that I can work him in and out of my squad and work my front row forwards with that. So that's another good option to look at. He's bottom dollar. You can't really lose. If he's the one that ends up falling out of your side, he's 200k. You've got two other spots there in your CTWs that can make you money. I'm happy to run with that. The Sunday game, Dolphins versus the Cowboys. For the Dolphins, we've got the hammer at fullback, Jermaine Asako, and Jack Bostock gets the nod there on the wing. Herbie Farnworth, Tessie New, Cody Nikorima jumps into the 6, and Sean O'Sullivan is the half. Awesome news for Jack Bostock. He will again be one of those CTWs. I'll be picking him. Don't know if I'll be playing him. Bit nervous about his output. He's got Tessie New inside him, who does have glue hands, but that's fine because he's an out-and-out gun. Tessie New's been trialling really, really well. He's off the drink, so good news for him. I do like Jack Bostock. I think they've got a good early run. I think if he piles some games together, he might make a stack of cash for us, so fingers crossed for that. But yeah, again, I would be looking at maybe not having him in your 17, but he's 310k. Awesome option to have there. The cheapie stocks, like I said, are super low in our CTWs and all around for our Supercoach this year. It's going to be a real struggle. Sort of looked like we were going to get a couple of cheapies in there, but it doesn't seem that's the case. Forwards for them are Jesse Bromwich, Jeremy Marshall-King, Tom Flegler, Felice Kafusi, Connolly Lemu, and Ray Stone. Ray Stone's the big winner there at the 13 with Tommy Gilbert out for the year. The other one I want to touch on is Jeremy Marshall-King. They have a guy by the name of Max Plath on the bench. He looked really good in the trials. He is going to be a future star of the game. He is at 5'8". I'm not convinced on his minutes. I think he may come in and play 15 to 20 minutes, which is a shame. Jeremy Marshall-King, though, is a little bit injury prone. So if Max Plath can really cement that interchange spot, he could be an option if something happens to Jeremy Marshall-King. Cheap, 5'8". Those cheapie stocks in 5'8" are really, really low, so one to watch. Tom Flegler gets the nod in the forwards. The other one is Kenny Bromwich on the bench. I think he'll play more of I can't really see him coming in for either of Lemuelu or Kafusi. He may play another middle role there. Jake Averillo is the big loser in that one. He doesn't even get the 18th. He is the 19th man. Unfortunately, I thought Jake Averillo would be the perfect 14 for that Dolphin squad, but not to be. All right, we've got the Cows. Scotty Drinkwater at the back. Kyle Felt and Tuolagi. Valentine Holmes, Zach Labart make up the back five there. That is pretty much how we thought that would go. Zach Labart looked really, really good in the trials if someone was looking at going him. He is a bit awkwardly priced, but still, he looked really good in the trials. Scored a lot of points. Looked dangerous every time he touched the ball. Dearden and Townsend in the halves there. We expected that. The forwards, Jordan McLean, Reece Robinson, Jason Taumalolo, Hylam Lukey, Jeremiah Nana, and Ruben Cotter. The big winner out of all this for mine, I'll go through the bench. Jake Granville, Griffin Name, Sam McIntyre, Finney Fuiaki. The big winner for me there is Ruben Cotter. There is Taumalolo, who will be lucky to play 40 minutes. Jordan McLean, lucky to play 40 minutes. Helam Lukey, he'll be looking for a bench role there at some stage. I dare say they'll move him in and out with Finafuiaki. Who are they going to swap Cotter out? I think Cotter plays massive minutes. I think he could be a Cam Murray of this year, getting 65 to 70 minutes now even. They look super strong in their front row forwards, but Griffin Name, he's a front rower. Sam McIntyre, back rower. Finafuiaki, he's a bit of a back rower as well. Jake Granville at the 14, we have seen him slot in at front row, so fuck knows what they're going to use him as. But I really like the minutes for Ruben Cotter there. He's dual, he's reasonably cheap. I think he's in for a huge year. He's locked straight into my team. Helam Lukey, the one to watch there, he is going to be the collateral damage in my team now that there's bugger all cheapies. I am looking to get him out of my side. Just with Finafuiaki coming in, I think Finafuiaki, if he brains it, he will get some decent minutes. And they could be looking at Helam Lukey, about a 50-minute player. Like I said, the 80-minute back rower is super hard to find this year. I'm not sure if there's going to be them guys running around that are decent super coach options. Yeah, Helam Lukey. I've done a thing there where this is what's happened. I've stuffed up and I've gone Tupanua. I've got enough cash in the bank to actually go next week Tupanua to Helam Lukey. So it's worked out a bit average, but at the same time, I'm super happy with how my team is looking. The round zero thing is a bit bugging me there with Tupanua only getting the 25. If I had my time again and this was all combined into one round, I probably would have left Tupanua out, be able to have Helam Lukey in, but not to be. Anyway, we'll sort that out throughout the year, no doubt. We've got heaps of trades, so we'll sort everything out there. Again, guys, that is about all we've got for today. Please jump onto our league. Our league code is 726638. You've got until round 8 to run into that. Also, flick me a message on Instagram. If you follow our socials, I'll be uploading our team Thursday afternoons, uploading our trades, captaincy options, vice captaincy options. Every Thursday, that'll be coming out. So please follow us on our socials, Instagram, 4020 Sports. There is not a person I will not write back to. I will get back to everyone. I'm really enjoying everyone giving me questions, showing me their teams. I'm loving it, guys. So I appreciate the support and I appreciate you guys having the time to give us a chat and watch these videos. So thanks heaps, guys. That's all. Take care, legends.